In today's video, I'm going to talk about the latest Supreme Court judgment relating to the Specific Relief Act, whereby the court held that the 2018 amendment to the Specific Relief Act is prospective in nature, which is to say that it applies only to the transactions after 1st October 2018, that is the date on which the amendment came into effect. In order to understand the true scope of this judgment, we need to know what the amendment was all about. So in 2018, Section 10 of the Specific Relief Act was amended, whereby something which was earlier discretionary became mandatory. So prior to the amendment, granting of specific performance of the contracts was a discretionary provision. It was up to the judge or the court to decide whether specific performance should be granted. And one of the most important consideration was whether monetary compensation is adequate in that case or not. But after this amendment, if the guidelines or the criteria given in the Act are fulfilled, then granting of specific relief became mandatory. Now, what is a specific performance of the contract? A specific performance of a contract is whereby court orders a party to fulfill its promise under the contract because it is considered that in that particular situation, monetary damages are insufficient or inadequate as a relief. I'll give you an example. Say you are an event manager and you have booked a venue and you have invited a singer to perform. Now at the last minute the singer backs out. So what is the remedy that you can seek? You can go to the court and ask for monetary damages, or you can ask for specific performance of this contract, which means that you can request the court to order the singer to perform because you think that the monetary damages are not a sufficient relief in the present situation. So this is what specific performance of a contract actually means. Now earlier it was up to the court to to decide whether or not to allow it, but now if the conditions of the statute are fulfilled, the ingredients given in the Act are fulfilled, then the court is bound to allow specific performance. Now I am going to take you through the key aspects of this judgment which have a huge impact on commercial transactions. One of the key observations of the Supreme Court in this judgment is that the amendment has brought about new rights and liabilities. Thus, this amendment is substantive in nature and not a mere procedural amendment. Thereby, the Supreme Court went on to say that since it's a substantive amendment, the legislature was required to state clearly whether or not it has retrospective effect. As per the court, in case of a substantive amendment, legislature must expressly state that the amendment has retrospective effect, and if not, then it does not have a retrospective effect. It will apply only to future transactions. Since in the present amendment, the legislature clearly stated that this amendment will come into force from the date of notification. Thus, any kind of a transaction which has taken place before the date of the notification, which is 1st October 2018, is not covered by this amendment. Another important observation of the Supreme Court in this judgment is regarding basically the scope of the amendment or the purpose of the amendment, which is to promote commercial growth by bringing about greater sanctity to contractual relationships. Now, since specific performance has been made mandatory, if the provisions of the Act are fulfilled, thus contracts become more solid, contractual relationships basically gain more sanctity, and thus commercial transactions become more trustworthy, and promoting commercial transactions is the true aim of this amendment. And the crux of the judgment is that any transaction prior to the date of the notification when the amendment came into force is not covered by this amendment, as this amendment is substantive in nature, bringing about new rights, new obligations which did not exist prior to the amendment.